In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, plans to introduce workplace safety legislation amid concerns about people working at heights falling to their deaths. An economist gives Barbados' upgrade from credit rating agency Fitch the thumbs up. Scores of Bico workers walk off the job. A meeting has been held to resolve the impasse. And in sports, Barbados and CONCACAF League C with a perfect record.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. Regulations are coming to address safety concerns at some job sites, particularly those involving heights. Minister of Labour, Social Security in the third sector, Colin Jordan, says they're necessary to protect workers from injuries and even death. Anesta Henry has that story.
The plans to introduce the workplace safety legislation are based on observations as well as people working at heights falling to their deaths. This is according to Minister of Labour, Social Security and Third Sector Colin Jordan. He was addressing a workplace wellness in action forum at the Barbados Workers Union.
We've recently had some conversations in our ministry about some observations that we've made and some things that we've seen with respect to persons working at heights. Some of those observations include the fact that there have been, in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, some tragedies coming out of persons working at heights. And we've started a discussion. We'll engage the union on that. But we've started a discussion because we believe that this may be the time when we need some regulation on work at heights.
The forum, hosted by the National Committee on Wellness in the Workplace, showcased successful initiatives from organizations across the island. Mr. Jordan says employees who are well mean fewer health issues in the workplace.
We still want safety and health committees to make sure there are no trip hazards, no dangerous situations. But we also want those committees and workers generally and employers generally to recognize that wellness is really overarching. And like I said before, if we get that right, then many safety issues, many health issues will become less issues, and we'll be able to have more committed, more productive, and more fulfilled workers in our workspaces.
BWU General Secretary Tony Moore, meanwhile, is calling on employees to be responsible for their own wellness.
I start with employees needing to recognize that your wellness is your responsibility. Self-love and self-care. Don't depend on people to do for you what you ought to be doing for yourself.
The National Workplace Wellness Policy, implemented in 2019, helps guide employers and employees in implementing wellness programs and policies at the workplace. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Barbados' upgrade from the American credit rating agency Fitch Incorporated has been welcomed by economist Avinash Prasad. The island's long-term foreign country issuer default rating has moved to B+ from B. Mr. Prasad, former advisor to Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, says government's finances continue to improve, adding that it has now entered into a period of watching.
Barbados still has further to go. 5 years ago, it was scraping at the bottom of ratings, being CCC minus, and now it's B+. It needs to head towards BBB, which is what's called investment grade. And then Barbados's debt and investments can become part of international investors' portfolios in a wide way, as opposed to just specialist investors in the Caribbean or in emerging markets.
Only recently, the governor of the Central Bank of Barbados stated the country was awaiting the verdict from top credit rating agencies that were assessing the viability of the nation's investments. Mr. Passad, who is now special advisor to the president of the Inter-American Development Bank in Washington, says the upgrade would make Barbados an attractive place for investments.
Barbados' debt trajectory, you recall, it was around the highest of all countries in the world, the third highest just 5 years ago, is heading towards the magical number in the international market convention of around 60 to 80% of GDP. And if it continues to head in that direction, then yes, I wouldn't be surprised to see Barbados returning to investment grade and higher.
The Barbados Accreditation Council is in the process of making several changes to the existing national qualification framework. Executive Director of the BAC, Lisa Gale, says with Cabinet's approval of the plans, this presents a major milestone in Barbados's landscape. Ms. Gale now joins us live to discuss the changes. Good night to you, Ms. Gale.
Good night, Wendy, and good night, Barbados.
Now, what is the difference between the existing framework, which you now have in place, and the new national qualification framework?
Thanks, Wendy. Well, so far we've had lots of policies and standards in place. We don't have a framework that is approved by our stakeholders. We currently have things in place that move towards the framework. So what the Cabinet has approved is the new national qualifications framework, and this framework is intended to address some of the deficits that existed in the education and training system.
Now, why does Barbados need a framework, and how is it going to affect or impact on Barbadians?
Okay, so we need a framework because we need to have a national conversation about education and training. So education and training right now, you have conversations at the tech vault level, conversations at the education tertiary level, but we don't have a clear set of language that can speak to all tertiary education. So what this framework will do is be able to allow for comparability. It's going to be internationally understood. It's going to be one conversation. It's going to have 8 levels, 2 access levels, and it's going to be a conversation that BCC will be able to have with BVTB, because right now we compare foreign qualifications to local, but we have no comparability amongst the local qualifications, and that is a significant challenge. And this framework is intended to address that, as well as other things. It will allow for lifelong learning. It will allow for prior learning and assessment, which allows a person who might not have a qualification but has experience in a particular area to be able to see where they match up in terms of, I have done this for these 4 years, so therefore I actually can possibly be a CVQ1, CVQ level 2, okay, or even a certificate at level 1. All
right. Now, exactly what will the new qualifications register encompass, and the mandate of the new entity that's going to be coming on, the Barbados Accreditation and Qualifications Authority?
Yes. So you introduced 2 good things. One is the qualifications register, which will have all qualifications at the tertiary level, tech vault level, all qualifications from each of the tertiary level providers on that register. And the qualification authority is going to replace the Barbados Accreditation Council, and it will be the body which will run the work that is currently being done by the Barbados Accreditation Council, as well as manage the Barbados Qualifications and Credit Framework. So that authority is going to be the new accrediting body that the Cabinet of Barbados has just approved.
Okay, so we have lots to look forward to.
We have lots to look forward to. Legislation is now to be revised, and the operationalization of the framework will come into place as soon as the legislation is finalized.
Okay. Now, finally, are there any challenges which are facing you that seem a little insurmountable at this time? And what are some of the pluses that the Accreditation Council has been able to achieve?
Well, I have to give kudos to our stakeholders. Those are significant pluses. So we have SJPI, BCC, BVTB, and a number of other entities, because it's not only limited to our public institutions. We have the nursing, a couple nursing bodies, a couple other entities that are doing tertiary education. And they're the ones who are pushing the Barbados Accreditation Council forward as we move. So we have people who are, allowing the oil in the machine to move a little faster. That's a plus. If I foresee any challenges, the challenge would be pulling in the competent level persons in the region, because we are actually modeling ourselves after the CARICOM model. The CARICOM actually has a framework. Then there's also a revised framework for TechVoc as well in the region as well. So I think what our challenge would be is finding that cadre of professionals to assist us to advance the framework. That we foresee as one challenge, but it hasn't been a challenge so far because we've been able to hire out the consultants that we needed to assist us in advancing to where we are today. So really and truly, there's not a significant challenge that we foresee right now.
Okay, best of luck to you moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's Lisa Gill. Small business owners stand to benefit from this weekend's 85th annual conference of the Barbados Labour Party. Chief Executive Officer Senator Patricia Paris says the small businesses, part of the Trust Fund Limited, will be allowed a space to sell their items at the conference at the Foundation School.
These business owners have received financial assistance from the Trust Fund. The small business owners also participated in the Trust Fund Manufest Manufacturing Incubator Program. They benefited from training in manufacturing and quality essentials, marketing and sales, and inventory management, to name a few. We will have on sale over the 2 days by these businesses. We will have confectionery, condiments, wines and spirits, and health and beauty products.
Outside of the numerous awards to be presented by the BLP, 4 will be for outstanding sportspersons, 2 to culture, 1 environmental award, and 1 outstanding young Barbadian will be recognized. Senator Paris says Sunday will see rigorous debate on resolutions submitted by the party branches.
The constituency branches have submitted a total of 28 resolutions this year. So we are looking forward to the resolutions being some heated debate on the floor as these resolutions are debated. And it is from these resolutions that decisions are made.
Coming up, an update on efforts to address environmental and other issues at Parkinson Memorial School.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
The reported bed bug problem at Parkinson Memorial School is not a public health threat. This assurance from Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Arthur Phillips, who tells CBC News officers from his ministry have visited the Pine St. Michael-based institution to investigate the matter. He says the ministry's visit is not unusual since it usually responds to queries, including at schools.
In relation to the query to indicate that bed bugs are not a public health issue, though they are a nuisance. So that's the Ministry of Health position, that there isn't a public health issue that we're aware of at the institution, and Ministry of Education would have to advise if there are other matters that they are dealing with.
Meanwhile, Parkinson's board chairman Ian Stewart says following a meeting with teachers, urgent action will be taken to resolve the environmental issues at the institution.
The matters discussed today at the Barbados Community College related to, 1, the cat infestation in staff room, and we agreed that could be fixed with the inclusion of a lattice framework against some ventilation blocks of that staff room, which would in fact keep out the cats, and along with traps to ensure that these animals can be kept under control. The beetle droppings in the same area could be addressed by changing of some desks in that area, and that would be effective. The whole area then will be sanitized and clean for the start of school on Friday.
Bico employees were off the job today. More than 50 workers from various departments assembled outside the manufacturing plant with representatives of the Barbados Workers Union. BWU negotiator Alexandria Thomas says the work stoppage is a reaction to environmental concerns, health and safety issues, as well as a breakdown in wage negotiations.
One of the issues that we want to make sure that the public is aware of is that we have been having a number of health and safety issues here at Bico. Issues such as combined bathroom facilities for men and women and the public as well. There have not been updates done to these bathrooms in years. There has not been industrial cleaning done at Bico facility for over 3 years. Bearing in mind that this is a manufacturing plant, these are critical issues that need to be discussed. Barbados Workers Union does not negotiate on health and safety matters. It is required by the laws of Barbados that you comply with the Health and Safety Act. And therefore we thought it important that that be one of the things that are at the forefront of the concerns that are brought to the public.
When contacted, Executive Chairman of Bico, Edwin Thirlwell, told CBC News he's unable to comment on the matter. CBC News understands Bico's management and representatives of the BWU are currently meeting at the Ministry of Labour in an effort to resolve the outstanding issues. A challenge has been issued for Barbadians to grow more food. It comes as the country joins the world in observing World Food Day. Acting Deputy Chief Agriculture Officer Barney Callender says the cost of nutritious food is too high, and as a result, the less fortunate cannot afford it. But he believes increasing local production could help drive down those costs.
One solution is to produce more. So we as a country must increase production, which should help reduce the cost of food and make it more readily available to all. So, I'm sending a challenge to every Barbadian, from Prime Minister to every school child, to grow vegetables, herbs, or crops at their home. And I want to further extend this challenge to Barbadians again, to reduce their lawns by 50% and plant more food.
Mr. Callender was speaking as the Ministry of Agriculture presented hampers containing fruits and vegetables to 3 organizations which assist the most vulnerable. They're the HIV/AIDS Food Bank, Street Lamp Ministries, and the Child Care Board. Representative of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, Juan Shiaz, has made a call for food loss and waste to be addressed. He says while enough food is produced to cover the world's population, almost a third of it is lost or wasted.
As FAO, together with our partners in the Ministry of Agriculture, in the Ministry of Environment, in the Ministry of Youth, we're working on a novel initiative to transform waste into wealth. It's the Fish Silage Initiative, where we are using the waste of the fish produced in the main market, mainly in the Bridgetown market, to transform it into silage that can then be transformed into animal feed at a much lower cost, and that can help youth and women in that process. We are supporting the women at the Bridgetown Fish Market to process and to deal with that waste, therefore creating livelihoods for them.
Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security Indar Weir is reporting there's high interest in PV and wind turbine projects on island. He says marginal lands allowed to go fallow are now being targeted for these investments. The revelation was made during a forum for small island developing states at the ongoing World Food Forum in Italy. He also says the queue is long for renewable energy in agriculture.
These projects are coming in with a startup return on investment. which is completely different to a number of other investments in agriculture. So the moment you get involved in renewable energy, you automatically get a return on that investment, and that is the reason why the queue is so long for renewable energy in agriculture. This speaks, to my mind, to be the greatest opportunity for us to build out capacity in terms of agri-food production systems, which then would rely on technology, thus inducing more young people to participate, thus inducing more people to put in the investment in terms of manufacturing as well.
As Barbados joins the world in celebrating the inaugural International Day of Intangible Cultural Heritage, Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with responsibility for culture, Senator Dr. Chantal Munro-Knight, says this occasion holds a deep significance for us as a nation. In a statement, the minister notes throughout the months of September, October and November, countries and communities across the globe will engage in various events and activities to highlight the significance of intangible cultural heritage and its role in shaping our identities and culture. The Intangible Cultural Heritage team will visit both primary and secondary schools across the country to further educate students on how we can collectively contribute to its safeguarding. Barbados submitted 2 nominations in March 2024, road tennis and the Barbados Landship, for inscription on the UNESCO 2003 convention list. By December 2025, Barbados will learn whether these nominations have been successful. Barbados continues to lead the global climate change fight with its relatively new Environmental Impact Assessment, or EIA, process. That's according to Minister of Planning and Development in the Prime Minister's Office and Senior Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with responsibility for coordinating infrastructural projects, Dr. William Duguid. He says the EIA is an integral part of the Planning and Development Act proclaimed in December 2021 to tackle climate change frontally, and explains an EIA is mandatory for certain projects or developments. Dr. Duguid was addressing the international workshop on strengthening climate resilience, integrating climate services into environmental impact assessment processes in Barbados.
The use of the EIA presents this opportunity. Outside of the legally required EIA for the foregoing projects, Section 31 of the Act stipulates that an EIA is required for any development which, by reason of its nature, scale, or location, could significantly impact the environment. This enables the planning system to capture smaller-scale projects which carry a high environmental risk due to their location within sensitive habitats.
The 2-day workshop is being hosted by the University of the West Indies Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies in collaboration with the Joseph R. Biden Jr. School of Public Policy and Administration at the University of Delaware. Professor of Energy and Environmental Policy at the University of Delaware, Kaleem Shah, says Barbados's environmental laws and policies are advanced when compared to other Caribbean states.
What we're actually trying to look at here, sort of on a broader scale, is how can we develop and integrate a techno-scientific regime as climate services and products evolve? How can we integrate that kind of techno-scientific regime into a reasonably well-established regulatory legal process? And that's very important here in Barbados.
Sports time now with Damien Bess. What's new, Damien?
Well, good evening to you, Wendy. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. We start with some football news. Barbados hammered the Bahamas 6-2 last night to complete a perfect CONCACAF Nations League C campaign. The Tridents, who came from behind, were led by doubles from captain Andre Applewhite and Sharon Hoyt, while there was also goals from Nalri Stephen and Omani Leacock.
Barbados playing in their traditional bright yellow, hosting the Bahamas. Only 6 minutes gone, and Brandon Atherley muscles his way into the 18-yard box and finishes like a boss. Bahamas 1, Barbados 0. 2 minutes later, the Tridents restored parity via Andre Applewhite. Fortune favors the Brave. cannot and does not miss from there. The skipper on the score sheet, support solid. Loving it in the stands at the turf. In the twinkle of an eye, Bahamas would find themselves behind the 8 ball. Applewhite again on the move to now Reed Stevens, who is cut down in the box. Referee says that's a penalty. Reed Stevens from 12 yards off the fingertips of Michael Butler and in on 14 minutes. 2-1 Barbados. The pot was now bubbling and the Bajan marksmen were adding more ingredients. 26 minute. Reed Stevens, step over, neutralizes 3, and Sharon Hoyt, gorgeous finish. Oh, how sweet it is. 3-1 then, the scoreline. The Bahamas reduced the deficit before halftime when Nikolai Brathwaite's outstretched left boot redirects the volley past Kishmar Primus. 3-2 now, that's an own goal. Second half business, switch of ends, 47th minute. Barbados hunting. Cross initially saved. O'Malley Leacock, right place, right time, pokes it home. 4-2 the score. 52nd minute now. Reed Stevens electrifying down the right flank and turns away from 2 markers. And the cross is cutting edge for Applewhite. He says, thank you so much, buddy. Barbados on a dream run, leading 5-2. They could have had another one a couple minutes later. Guess who? Reed Stevens almost punishing his opponents. Shakes the upright. The spectators loving it. Well, Barbados produced another moment of magic, and this time no object or player will stand in the way. Sharon Hoyt rifles this one home in the 64th minute. That's his brace, and Barbados is 6. Pleased as punch. Swagger in party mood. Barbados thrashed the Bahamas 6-2.
Barbados will now await their opponents for the CONCACAF Gold Cup play-in. That's slated for next month with a home and away fixture. Well, Cam Smart Assurance Heat Basketball Club has earned promotion to the BABA Premier League. The Heat won their Division 1 best-of-3 final series 2-0 over VJ Carrington Building and Maintenance Challengers. CBC's Amory Burt reports on Game 2, which was played at the BCC Gym.
Having lost Game 1, challengers came into Game 2 on a mission to tie up the series, and so from the outset dominated the first quarter. Captain Mark Leacock leading by example, a nice and easy 3. On the other end, the Heat knew a win here meant series victory and promotion to the Premier League, so they were fighting tooth and nail to do so, especially against a strong defense. Jamar Headley, the one to put money in the bank. But challengers were in command and weren't easing up. Akeem Smith was their point man. Here he is again, almost losing the ball, but doing all to keep possession. He makes it count. As challengers had a 10-point lead at the end of the first, 20-10. But the Heat came back in the second with all cylinders firing. Ricardo Toussaint gets a pass and makes an easy jumper of it. This was the making of the Heat shutting out the challengers, who only managed 7 points this quarter. Heat with the other 2 thanks to Headley. Here we go again, Adrian Allman on the move, and he bunks his off to Nicholas King to finish the play. Although the challengers' baskets were firing in between this quarter, they had some shining moments. Jannard Brewster successfully pulling the trigger at the arc. But Heat has swung the game back in their favor. Headley with the dunk as Heat went into the half, up 32-27. So on the back foot, challengers started the third pressing hard. Gerard Grant with that basket. But Heat were really into their rhythm now. All hands on deck, passing around to ensure to pull that trigger at the right time. And it was Todd Bourne to do so and nicely executed. But what this quarter brought was basket for basket. Captain Leacock having the final say on this play. Actually, challengers shot 16 to Heat's 15 this quarter, but that previous route gave Heat the edge, and they did what they needed to keep ahead. Adrian Stewart for a nice floater, as the Heat were up at the third, 47-43, and they would go on to take the 10-point win, 65-55. You'll see the Heat with the big boys in the Premier League next season.
Thanks, Amory. Barbados Community College narrowly defeated the St. Michael's School when the Co-operators General Insurance NSC Under-19 basketball competition got underway this week. Playing at the BCC gym, the hosts won by 2 points in a keenly contested encounter. CBC's Anne-Margaret Boyce reports.
Tip-off time in the school's basketball under-19 competition. And the season opener features Barbados Community College in Orange and the St. Michael's School. First quarter action, BCC on the board first. Close range jumper from Ethan Shepard breaks the ice. Both teams were shaking off the early rust, contributing to a few turnovers. But the home court advantage seemed to be working for BCC. Quick transition from defense to attack, and the layup from Josiah Weeks is good. It took the St. Michael's School a while to find their groove. Excellent ball handling skill from Ari Montley Squires, who tries the floater, and it's in off the rim. Well, the tempo of the game was definitely up now, with BCC in possession. Kamari Holder on challenge from way downtown. Nothing but net. That's 3 of his 12 points. SMS had an immediate answer, though. The versatile Aaron Messiah floats it in. The boys from Martindale's Road came from behind to take the first quarter, 17-13, but not before Squires drove to the bucket, gets this one to count. The second quarter was pretty much more of the same, with SMS increasing their lead to 5 at the half, 30-25. But the third quarter is where things changed a bit, but it still remained a seesaw battle, with the lead shifting hands frequently. Montley Squires with all the space and time in the world to deliver this from beyond the arc. 3 more points to SMS. Nevertheless, Weeks continued to be the danger man for BCC. Bundles in the rebound at a game high 17. This shot was very adventurous, but BCC kept banking the points, which proved to be crucial at the very end. Shepard just kept leading the flock through this a tough path. SMS down by 3 at this stage, and they turn to their very own Messiah in Aaron. Hardly any emotion as he makes this look so easy. BCC led 38-35 at the end of the third quarter. So let's move to the fourth, where it was more of the same as well. Weeks with the all-important fadeaway too, as BCC held on, but barely, to win 53-51. And if this is any indication of what's to come, we're in for a season full of treats. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Well, thanks, Anmar, and that is indeed the first half in sports. Wendy will be back a bit later on.
Thank you, Damien. Looking forward to seeing you. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
In tonight's business report, Barbados needs to begin to promote trade across borders. This is according to Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kerry Simmons. He says Barbados has set up a cabinet subcommittee on external trade, which is to represent the cross-section of the productive sector. The minister was addressing a meeting hosted by the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries.
How best we can identify within all of those neatly defined sectors, the agriculture sector, the business sector, where there can be cross-fertilization of effort, cross-fertilization of ideas, and then derivatives being identified so that you have value added being done and you have an ecosystem being created which allows for you then to plug into the international or the regional economy by trading.
A community business with a difference has opened its doors in St. Thomas. It's Furious Karting, the brainchild of youthful engineer Jeremiah Cadogan. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The initiative started as a community-led effort to provide recreational activities in the area. Assistance has also come from the Sandy Lane Charitable Trust.
Thinking about it is that it wasn't always a business. It started as a community project. Growing up in Archer, we had no resources allocated to us, such as playing field or parks. And in 2019, I took it upon myself to, create the project, create the go-karts. And that was to bring unity and camaraderie back to my neighborhood. And it was successful as we were able to work with members from not only Archall, but other communities, such as Jeffrey Elliott, who would have helped us with the design of the kart, and Mr. Robinson from Archall, who would have taught us the basics of go-karting, of the welding the go-karts.
Chief Operating Officer Jeremiah Cadogan says Furious Karts operates from the Walk, Welches, St. Thomas, but as they develop, they will be looking at other locations. He notes, with technical assistance from his cousin, Oshia Cadogan, safety and reliability are high on the agenda.
We have it governed, so not everyone will experience that speed. So in that case, it's safe for the speed. In terms of the wideness, it limits the kart from being able to turn over. So that's why it's that wide as well. And in terms of reliability, when we first started out, we had a problem with our brakes, and we had to deal with that issue. And now we have correct brakes, the proper brakes, and everything is reliable. We don't really suffer from any major breakdowns.
Mr. Cadogan tells the business report the enterprise is for community camaraderie, but he's willing to involve other organizations interested in coming on board. Trevor Thorpe for the business report.
Here's how the stocks traded locally and regionally today.
In Jamaica, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, with 739,446 units, was the volume leader, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares and the Jamaica Broilers Group. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader, with 301,168 shares changing hands, for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $1,069,146.40, followed by NCB Financial Group Limited. And here in Barbados, Emery Deposit Receipt was the volume leader, trading 531 shares at Barbados $20 each, and they were followed by Goddard Enterprises Limited and the Cave Shepherd and Company Limited.
And that's it for tonight's business. We'll take a break and be back with the weather.
We are your voice, the 2024 Parish Ambassadors of St. Peter.
Did you know that Barbados has a child protection bill?
The Child Protection Bill acknowledges the connection between child abuse, neglect, and mental health issues amongst our youth.
The bill gives support through mental health counseling to children who have experienced trauma or are living in challenging circumstances.
By addressing the emotional impact of abuse, we can assist children in healing and building confidence, giving them a voice to speak up and speak out. Let's all protect the children of Barbados, the gems of our nation.
Time to say goodnight to Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Will it be rainy tonight or humid?
Well, just a few brief showers tonight, Wendy. Good evening to you and good evening, everyone. A trough system impacted the island today, but because of the very dry nature of the atmosphere, we had mostly sunny skies. The winds, they are light to moderate and they're peaking at 13 knots. We continue to track an area of low pressure to the east-northeast of Barbados. The maximum temperature today was 31 degrees Celsius, the minimum 24 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 27 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity 77%. The winds, they're coming in from the northeast. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where the temperatures are ranging from 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows moisture is building across a number of the islands, and the winds, they are generally moderate across the region. We take a look now at that area of low pressure. It is located 717 miles to the east-northeast of Barbados. We are expecting that the area will move to the north of Barbados Thursday through Friday. We are not expecting a direct impact from this area. But today in Barbados, we had that trough system, which generated only a few light showers because the atmosphere is quite dry at this time. Just to also point out that we do have a tropical wave at 50 degrees west. It is moving towards the west. We are expecting that this system will impact the leewards. That's Thursday night into Friday. For us here in Barbados, as I said, that trough system only maintained just a few light showers. The winds, they are peaking at 30 knots. However, the sea is moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Later on tonight, we'll continue to see a few more clouds drifting across the island. As a result, we'll have a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with just a few light showers. Further south, it was also dry and stable across the Guianas. Over now in the Western Caribbean, a tropical wave generated wet conditions across Cuba and Jamaica. Elsewhere had localized afternoon showers. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:49 and will set at 5:38. Now, the first high tide is expected at 3:26 in the early morning, the first low at 12 minutes past 9. Those seas are moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Now the winds, they are coming in from the east at 20 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with brief light showers. And over the next 3 days, a mix of sunshine, clouds and showers can be expected Thursday and Friday. Thereafter, instability will maintain occasionally cloudy skies along with some scattered showers.
And we say welcome back to Damien Best.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Well, top Barbados table tennis player Tyrese Knight unfortunately went out in the round of 32 at the ITTF Pan American Table Tennis Championships in El Salvador over the weekend. In a hard-fought game against Leonardo Azuca of Brazil, Knight lost 3 sets to 4 at 12-10, 7-11, 6-11, 11-9, 4-11, 12-10, 5-11. And finally, the Prime Minister's Cup is now at the knockout stage, and in this phase we will be highlighting the star moments on the field. Here's the play of the week.
Maybe it's a top goal, or maybe a top save, or an assist for the books. Let's play ball. Here's your Prime Minister's Cup play of the week. It was the goal that turned things around for Notre Dame. The goal that pulled them level with United Stars Alliance, ultimately setting them up to go on to win on penalties. The man with that golden boot was Jamar Grisette. And might I add, it was a beauty of a free kick. That was your play of the week. Your outstanding moment from the latest action in the Prime Minister's Cup.
Well, that's all the time we have in the second half. Wendy, it is back over to you.
Thank you so much, Damien. And we'll return after the break.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Morning Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Thanks for viewing. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.